morning. I'm Netta Shama, along with Chief Meteorologist Rebecca Kopelman and our special guest today, Mayor Tiffany O'Donnell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a treat for me. It's a treat for me to be with you up close
really appreciate
in person.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a little different, but you know, you used to be in this room doing this job here, so
looks a lot.
Our desk was like on the other side of the room, so
it's funny how my car just drives here automatically though, and I know go right to my desk in the newsroom. They're like, "Excuse me, ma'am, you can wait in the lobby." Like, really?
You didn't listen, did you?
No,
of course not.
she's the mayor. She can do what she wants.
You got to autograph the desk though before you leave.
I could do that.
Yeah, we got to have you do that one.
You think they wouldn't mind? Big Sharpie?
I don't think so. You think they'd mind?
You said so.
Who's going to get us in trouble?
Nada and Rebecca said so.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's done. But you know, we do have we got to talk a little bit about the weather.
That's right. We do got to
bring
do
Tiffany
that one.
back.
And again, we're joined by Mayor Tiffany O'Donnell. Thank you again for joining us. Yeah. We wanted to talk a little bit about just some of the exciting things that are happening in the city. I know Rebecca just talked about weather, so I kind of want to pivot to that since we did have rain. There was some flooding concerns. Let's talk a little bit about the flood control project and where we're at in terms of how complete is it, how much more do we have left to do?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. And before we do that, I just want to thank you guys too, because was it last week we had the middle of the night sirens, and we don't always out there get to tell you that, but how comforting it was that you were here, because it's immediately where we go. We want to go to the TV and find out what's happening. So thank you for being there.
Rebecca's amazing.
Rebecca, thank you. We all have a role to play, I guess, in protecting our citizens. As far as flood protection goes, we're nearly halfway there. More so on the east side of the river. As you'll remember, the Army Corps of Engineers committed immediately due to the property values and the business values on the east side. They committed to that fully. The city then said, well, that's not acceptable. We need to make sure that we take care of the west side. And this is significant because just last, I guess it was probably 2 weeks ago, we secured an additional $26 million for the west side. So we continue to see faster progress than we expected, with full completion by 2035.
That's amazing. And I want to talk back again on that $26 million. Now, what was the holdup in order to get that going?
Okay, so I don't want to say we were surprised to get it, but when I mentioned the way that the Army Corps was able to fund the east side so easily is they do a benefit analysis to what that property is worth, what it puts out economically. That's a lot of business, obviously, on the east side. On the west side, you had residential. Well, there's not as much value in residential or business. Right. Add to that, we had to clear out a lot of those properties. So the value of that land in terms of economic output is significantly less. Right. So, federal folks see less value in funding that. But what ended up happening is we were in Washington probably about a month ago, and all we talk about is finishing flood protection. All we talk about. And how do we change the formula so that it isn't about the value of what the output is, because we know what's happening there. Well, then we get a $275 million economic development project on the west side. We have developers now saying we want to build more homes that we desperately need on the west side. Well, that matters. Yeah. Suddenly that land is worth a lot more. So I think that in addition to that, the west side being worth, so it's always been worth everything to us, but now we can show it on paper where it's worth the investment to go there. And add to that, city staff has the plans all ready to go. We make it very easy for the federal government to give us projects.
Absolutely. And speaking of big projects, the casino project.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
I don't mean to roll my eyes, but it's just finally here.
What it was like dealing with that.
Well, it was insane. It was insane, and it was kind of a front row seat to how things can actually work politically and otherwise. That we're finally going vertical, as they say in the construction world, is really significant. And we're already seeing, when I mentioned developers wanting to build homes on that side of the river and businesses, it's because of that. You start to get that critical mass where you see the vibrancy and the life and the opportunity coming back to the area. So yes, it's a casino and an entertainment venue, and it's going to bring so much more. And they're also helping to fund that flood protection in front of that facility too.
Right. Going back now, I want to talk about a question that I hear often, and a lot of people always ask us to do more stories on, is affordable housing.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the most difficult thing about getting that moving, and how could we work toward getting more affordable housing for folks here in town?
Well, and it's interesting. I was looking as we are at the derecho anniversary. The derecho allowed us some opportunities for federal funding and other that allows us to help builders build single-family homes. And I'm citing particularly the Roots program, where through HUD, we're able to give developers like $150,000 to support the building of a market rate house. Because right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for developers to build. The costs for single-family homes just don't make as much sense as multifamily units.
Right.
So you've seen a lot of multifamily units, 1,000 plus, just in our downtown alone. So we just continue to find ways through the Neighborhood Finance Authority and others to help it make sense for homeowners, particularly first-time homeowners, to get that down payment, and then through, again, opportunities like Roots, through housing and urban development funding, because it just is financially, developers will tell you, it just doesn't make as much sense for them.
Right. And speaking of the derecho, 5-year anniversary is coming up. What have you seen throughout the last 5 years, and just how strong is this community to have come together year in and year out since then?
Yeah. Like we did with the floods, I feel like the derecho, well, obviously, none of us wanted that to happen. I can't even imagine that it did. We all learned that word, for example. No one knew that word before that day. It allowed us the opportunity to level set in a way. And you see trees now where you didn't see them pre-derecho. It allowed the city to really focus on being the gold standard for urban forestry. So, for example, all of our development agreements, those changed after. Any business that wants to come here, that has to get a permit, that has to get the okay from the city, the number of trees they have to have on their property has increased. Yeah. Same with private. When developers want to build, when new streets go in, more trees will be in Cedar Rapids. As you know, though, it was about 60% of the canopy. Yeah. So the relief program is the city's effort, about a $35 million effort to get more trees in public lands. And with that, I would say we're about 40 to 50% of the way to our goal there. Add programs like the Monarch Research Program, Free Trees, the One Tree, One Child program. We can work on the trees in the rights of ways,
right,
and they can work on the trees in the private property. And I also want to just address, there are some that don't want us to put the trees in their right of ways, and I get that. We hear concerns about that. There are a variety of reasons why trees matter. Trees matter for all of us, not just for the individual homeowner. It's for the homeowner that might not be there when you're not there anymore. It's for our ecosystem, for the bugs that we need to grow the crops, for the filtration system, for the flood mitigation underground, for the shade, for the heat map.
Everything.
So it's critical that we are successful in our relief program. And one of the ways that I can gauge that, obviously the number of trees that we've planted, but also our funding goals. That's about a $35 million project to get done, and we're just shy under $10 million to get that done.
Wonderful.
So that'll happen.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.